Okay, so this is now 2017. I know January is almost over, and I wanted to make a video, but again, school, a lot of things going on. But let's get to the chase. Inauguration happened last week. I did not watch it. I did not want to watch it. But of course, people were posting photos of the inauguration, which I should have stayed offline. And I feel that was done on purpose because y'all know people ain't trying to watch that shit. And you still trying to post videos and pictures like, oh, look at Melania and Trump. And like, no one's trying to watch that. But regardless, we still caught clips of it. And we have a white supremacist Nazi rapist in office, and you can thank white people and all the white women and men who secretly voted for him and don't want to admit it now because they are embarrassed and don't want to lose their token friends. And the fact of the matter is, I used to think, okay, who would want to vote for Trump? Who would be a Trump supporter? Because only the worst type of humans would be a Trump supporter. No, it's your friend, it's your boss, it's your co-worker, it's your professor. It's people who you thought, okay, they're liberals, they wouldn't vote for a Trump, but they did. And now we have to face the consequences because people just decided that whether this man is xenophobic, racist, homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, and a rapist or not, we still gonna vote for him. And the fact of the matter is, Trump, I remember hearing that Trump was going on trial or he was being taken to court on the charges of sexually molesting women from pageants that he hosted in the past. And the fact that they waited until after the election to do all that shit, and that was strategic because they really wanted this man to win. And the fact of the matter is, people can't just admit that they lost. They want to say, oh, we won, blah, blah, blah. Hillary Clinton won by popular vote. But for some reason, I guess our vote doesn't really matter because even though we voted for Hillary, I think each state has representatives that say we want this person to be president. So it's not even all of our votes that are being considered. It's like, okay, so all these people voted for Hillary, all these people voted for Trump. Normally they would go by the majority, but then they decided, no, we want Trump. And people are saying Russia hacked the voting system of America. And then Joe Stein tried to get a revote, but then places like Pennsylvania were like, no, like we won fair and square. Like you really wanted this man because you wanted to show, oh, white supremacy wins again. You did not win, okay? You are stupid. You are really stupid. And then just yesterday, Trump signs, I don't know much about it, but apparently it has to do with Syrian refugees. So I don't want to get much into it because I don't want to be incorrect. But this was the day of the Holocaust remembrance. And people were so upset, especially Holocaust survivors, families of the survivors, saying like, y'all are hypocritical because y'all want to sit here and say, oh my God, what happened to the Jewish people during the Holocaust was so horrible. The US should have done more. But yet here are people in other parts of the world who are facing injustices and you're saying, no, they can't come here. That's essentially the same thing. And y'all want to sit here and act as if it's different. No, people from Mexico are fleeing from their countries. People from different parts of the world are fleeing from corrupt governments, and y'all saying no, they can't come here because we don't like immigrants. That's essentially what you are saying, but then want to turn around and say, oh, the Holocaust was horrible, but something similar happened back then. So I just don't want to hear it. Everything about Trump just nauseates me. I do want to say this. The ableism towards Barron Trump, no. The misogyny towards Melania Trump, no. If Melania is possibly being abused, which I do believe she is, it's not to joke about, okay? I'm not the biggest fan of Melania. I didn't like that she plagiarized Michelle Obama's speech, but I don't hate her enough to say, oh, well, she got herself into this situation. She should have left, because that is some victim blaming logic. And leave Barron Trump out of this. He is a child. I don't care if Michelle and Sasha and Malia got it worse and the two daughters were being objectified with misogyny war. I don't care because it's still not right. Leave children out of this. You don't get to say, well, Sasha and Malia went through the same thing, so we can bully Barron and make fun of his Asperger's, because you know what? I have Asperger's. I have autism, and I don't care if you don't think I have autism or I don't look it. I have it. So when you attack Barron, you're attacking the disabled people of the Black community. You are harming people with autism. So leave Barron Trump alone. You know, if you're going to attack anyone, attack Trump, attack his daughter, attack his sons. But yeah, y'all want to go against someone that really can't defend themselves. Like, you trying to go for a child, and then you trying to go for a wife that you think may be in an abusive relationship that is a so-called mail order bride. You know, y'all want to go after someone that can't really defend themselves, but you're not trying to attack Ivanka like that. You want to attack Melania and say that she is complicit, but then when we talk about Ivanka, it's like, oh, it's so horrible that her father treats her like that, and I think that her father abuses her and sexually assaults her, but then y'all want to have no sympathy for Melania Trump. That doesn't make any sense. But I guess because y'all mad that she's first lady and she was a quote-unquote porn star, she was an adult model from Slovenia, and y'all think that ruins Michelle Obama's respectability politics, or not her politics. She didn't have any like respectability politics, but her respectable image of, you know, what a Black woman has to do to be first lady or to be a woman of class. And I don't like that. I'm angry, and we have a right to be upset about that, because people move goalposts. People say you have to be this to be a classy Black woman. But then when we meet those requirements and there are white women that are clearly beneath us when it comes to standards, then y'all want to sit here and say, well, at least she's pretty. Like, I don't have much against Melania Trump. I'm going to put it out there. I don't really have anything against her except for her defending the birther thing that Trump went about for 6 years, which was, to me, his being a brat that this Black man of Muslim origins became president of the United States. So he's like, I'm going to run for president of the United States because it's not fair that this Black Muslim or whoever gets to be president. Like, that's all it seemed. And it's ridiculous. But let's talk about another issue. Paris Jackson and the Michael Jackson situation. First of all, Paris Jackson came out a few days ago and said that she identifies as a Black woman because she is biracial and Michael Jackson is her biological father. So, if that's the case, why are we arguing this? If Paris Jackson was anyone else, people would ignore it, say, well, it is what it is, or complain about white passing privilege, but not really make it into this huge ordeal as it is on my blog. Paris Jackson doesn't have to prove anything. And what makes me mad is that there are plenty of people saying, I have family members that look whiter than Paris. I have family members that are quote unquote monoracial that are white passing. They identify as Black and they have the features that Paris has. And there are still people saying, well, Paris, like, stop it. It makes me angry because you trying to dismiss people who have family members that look like Paris, saying Paris is Black, versus those who pull out tabloid news sites and say, well, this guy named Mark Lester came out and said that Paris Jackson is his real daughter. Y'all know damn well that there have been so many people coming out and using Michael Jackson for money. So the fact of the matter is, if Mark Lester was really Paris Jackson's father, he would have had to go to court, and Debbie Rowe would have been forced to fork over her rights, and she would have been forced to a DNA test if that were to happen. And since that didn't happen, well, you know, we can't just decide that Paris Jackson, Prince Jackson, and Blanket aren't his children just because of the way that they look. One, they don't even naturally have blonde hair. Only one child has blue eyes. That's Paris. Paris's hair is naturally wavy. I've seen so many biracial children with full Black, brown-skinned parents with features like Paris. We are not talking about light-skin privilege. We are not talking about white-passing privilege. We are talking about this ideal that because someone is half Black, that they can identify as Black. Paris Jackson came out and said, I'm a Black woman because that's what my dad told me. Even though we are not sure if Michael Jackson is her biological father or not, why are you angry at this girl? And why are you comparing her to Rachel Dolezal, a woman who knowingly knew that she wasn't Black, pretended she was black just so she could reap the benefits of someone else's oppression, black women's. This is an 18-year-old girl who came out and said that I am black. She is devastated over the death of her father. I remember when she cried at his funeral, people were saying that she was faking it. Y'all are disgusting. I don't care how you feel about Michael Jackson. I don't care if you believe that he was a pedophile or not, which I believe is untrue. You don't take that out on his children. It seems as if you look at Paris Jackson, Blanket, and Prince as if they are these devil children. That it's their fault that Michael Jackson supposedly was a coon and hated himself to the point where he bleached his skin, which he did not. He had vitiligo, which is a disorder of the pigmentation, and he was forced to even out his skin tone. I normally talk about colorism and light skin privilege. I talk about white passing privilege. I don't feel comfortable with biracial people who don't identify as black, but then when it's convenient, say that they are black just so they can reap the benefits, I fucked that word up, the affirmative action of the oppression of African Americans. I don't like that. And if someone doesn't want to identify as black, I'm not going to bother claiming them. But if there are people who are saying, hey, I'm half black, that makes me black, I am not going to argue with them. I don't have time to argue with them. I have bigger fish to fry than to argue whether a girl can be black or not because of her DNA. And then people keep pulling out straw arguments like, well, what about her passing privilege? We aren't talking about that. We are talking about the fact that Paris Jackson is a white passing black girl. So stop pulling out these straw arguments just so you can be right. Because it seems like you guys are just being spiteful. You guys just don't like the girl, so you don't want her to be one of you. That's what it seems like. Like, I just don't like the girl, so I don't want to claim her. Because if it were someone that you liked, then y'all would be like, oh, sure, you know, she's a black girl. I don't even like Rashida Jones. I don't really care for Troy Belisario from Pretty Little Liars. You know, I don't think Troy really claims her blackness. But if they were to say I'm black, I'm not going to argue with them. I believe Rashida Jones did at one time say that she's a black woman. But, you know, it's very conflicting with Rashida Jones. But I'm not going to argue with someone's blackness just because I don't like them, just because I'm being petty and I don't want to claim them as one of me. Like, I don't like this person, so they don't get to be black, you know, she ain't me. And that's what it sounds like. And then y'all want to say, well, if you claim Paris as black, then you're strengthening colorism. That is some hotep bullshit. Colorism does not exist because there are light-skinned black people or because there are white-passing black people. Colorism exists because of white supremacy. There are light-skinned Native Africans, especially in places like North Africa and East Africa. Whether there are some who identify as black or are considered black, that's neither here nor there. Stop thinking that, you know, all Africans are dark-skinned with wide noses and 4C hair. I know we are stigmatized, and I know we should further this movement of being looked at as the standard blackness or the default characteristic of blackness. I'm not debating that. I feel like if people are going to represent black beauty, do it accurately. I am not saying to erase light-skinned people or those with features that are considered white. I'm saying if we are going to showcase black as beautiful, we need to show the average looking black person instead of someone that fits an ideal of what black should look like. Do I think Paris Jackson fits an ideal? Yes. But does that mean she's not black? No. And we don't have proof. As people have said, and dark-skinned black people, it's mostly dark-skinned black people who are monoracial and who have features of wide noses and nappy hair saying, I have people in my family that look like Paris. You don't get to decide who is black based off of how they look. It's just ignorant. I don't understand it, and I don't want to understand it. I do not. And someone said if Paris Jackson was a white man, or not a white man, if Paris Jackson was a man and said, I am a black man, people would be more willing to accept it than if she were saying that I'm a black woman. And I think that's what really gets people, that she said, I identify as a black woman. It's like, oh my God, like, looking like that, why would you want to identify with something like that? And that's what it sounds like to me. It does. So stop bringing up bullshit and saying, well, if you consider Paris Jackson and other biracial people black, then you're strengthening colorism, because that's a scare tactic. It's manipulative. And that's not true. That's simply not true. But anyway, that's all I have for now. Put your comments down at the bottom and tell me what you think. Don't be ghost followers or subscriber.